And Angelina and Al, one of Hollywood's biggest stars, opens up about directing her new film, her family and her battle with chickenpox.
It was so absurd. What was even stranger is I think during the day before I was trying to do interviews and I kept thinking, what's happening today?
We'll have Al's exclusive interview today, Friday, January 2nd, 2015. No, my New Year's Day was fine, but you sat down with Angelina Jolie. Wow.
Well, it was a lot of fun. We did after I did the Rose Bowl, parade with Hoda. Sat down with Angelina talking about this movie Unbroken, which is just amazing, and she also talked about acting versus directing and which one she likes. I almost got the feeling she likes directing more.
So what do we call the two of you? Angelina Al?
Angelina.
Angelina. Okay, sounds good.
Well, we'll look forward to that. Coming up, who is the better cook, Angelina Jolie or her hubby Brad Pitt? Al will find out when he goes one-on-one with Angelina.
Angelina Jolie on why she lost sleep during the filming of Unbroken and tells me what it was like to direct her husband, Brad Pitt, in an upcoming movie.
All right, look forward to that interview.
What I did on New Year's Day was talk to Angelina Jolie on the pressure of directing Unbroken and what it was like to direct her husband, Brad Pitt.
All of that after your local news and weather. It's 8 o'clock on Today. Coming up, Angelina and Al.
I often thought this is too important and it's too big and I don't know how I got here and I don't want to fail him.
The actress turned director opens up to Al on the pressures of making Unbroken and talks about her very untraditional honeymoon.
Plus, Angelina Jolie on her new hit film, directing husband Brad Pitt and spending their honeymoon together on a movie set.
Very fun.
Roses Parade. The next, you're sitting down with Angelina Jolie.
It's a good life. It really is. Well, it was a terrific day. Jolie's new movie, Unbroken, is a hit at the box office. Tells the true story of World War II hero Louis Zamperini, who passed away this year at the age of 97. When I got to sit down with Jolie, it was easy to see that telling the story of now her friend turned into a true labor of love. Well, congratulations on this movie. It is a real piece of filmmaking about a very tough yet inspiring subject, and the audiences really have seemed to embrace this. How does that feel?
Oh, it's the most wonderful feeling. And not as a filmmaker, as somebody who really loves and believes in Louis. I loved him so much, and he was so funny. Mm-hmm. He was really one of the funniest people you'd ever meet. So full of life. So aware of the hardest aspects of life, and through that embraced every day with this fire and this humor and this love that was infectious.
How much more responsible do you feel to a story when you know that there's a real person attached to this and that you've met and now are connected to?
It's a huge responsibility. I lost so many sleepless nights and so many moments of self-doubt because.
Really?
Oh, of course. Because especially when somebody is your own actual hero, it's my second film, and it's a huge film. And there were so many things from shark attacks and plane crashes. I've never directed anything like that. I often thought this is too important and this is too big, and I don't know how I got here, and I don't want to fail him. I don't want to fail him.
In fact, I just co-hosted the Rose Parade, and he was the posthumous Grand Marshal. What do you think he would have thought about that?
Oh, he would have loved it. He grew up here, and he every year would watch it on television. You know, this is a big deal for him, and he would have been excited. When
I was watching him, the scene where his mom is making the gnocchi, he's sitting on and for half a moment, I thought, that almost looks like Angelina Jolie making the gnocchi. I mean,
my kids would disagree. I think they've never seen me make gnocchi, but I think they'd love that image. I should try that. I would love to think of myself as the classic mom at home, being able to.
Are you a decent cook?
I'm one of those people that I'll learn this like a random exotic meal from, I can do a really interesting Afghan dish with eggplant, but I don't know how to make basic spaghetti. I'm just that person.
You've got a film coming out this year. You're directing this young up-and-coming actor, some guy named Brad Pitt. What was that like directing your husband?
It was great. It's a funny thing. I think it's more that you get nervous because you love somebody and you want to help them. You want to give, as a director, you want to help your actor. As a wife, you really want to help your husband. So you want everything to be right for them. But there's something we found, which is if you work with the person you love and trust most in this world, it's pretty great because you really try things with each other and you trust, and you as artists, you get very bold because you're together.
Is it true you described it as a honeymoon?
Well, it technically was our honeymoon. We actually had this little cove where we filmed. And we'd built this hotel on one side, and on the other side was the house where the kids were doing school. So we had this like really strange little relationship. It was like a honeymoon, just a on-screen, slightly dysfunctional one.
Yeah, well, you talk about supporting each other, and it's time for the premiere of Unbroken, and you're down with the chicken pox. And Brad ends up taking 3 of the kids. I mean, what was here's your big moment, and chicken pox? It
was so absurd. What was even stranger is I think during the day before I was trying to do interviews and I kept thinking, what's happening today? Very strange. But of course it was really fun that my kids took the mantle. They took it very seriously when I said, you got to represent mom. You got to do this for me and do this. My kids knew and loved Louis, so you got to do this for Louis. You got to get out there, and so they were excited about the mission.
I love Shiloh wearing the suit and tie.
Yeah, and she had Louis' shoe on that he won in 1940.
Wow. Yeah. That, this truly is, in a sense, a gift that keeps giving.
Yes, he will forever be that inspiration to us all.
Yeah, it was. You can tell this was really a labor of love for her, and audiences really have responded to it.
Yeah, the movie's done great.
It's got so much going for it, and she was also the subject. I asked her. She was the subject of the in one of those Sony released hacked emails, and she didn't want to get into that, and so we moved on. But she obviously has shown her chops as a director and continues, and also talked about she actually kind of way likes directing more than acting, and so
I know. Challenge, I guess, for her.
Exactly.
And we're gonna have more of your interview coming up in our next hour.
Yep.
Al, thanks a lot.
And it was beautiful.
It started off chilly. It was about 34 degrees.
Beautiful meaning the floats, not necessarily the temperature.
Yeah, no, but then it warmed up and it was great. And then I went from that to going to our NBC bureau and doing an interview with Angelina Jolie.
Speaking of beautiful.
Yes.
I asked Al earlier this morning, I said, is she just as stunning in person as she looks, as she, like she would be on TV?
Yes,
you
sadly,
say even better.
Yes, even better.
Even better.
But what was great is look, she's I think a very good actress, but she also is now becoming this, acclaimed director, and in fact, she's going to be directing Brad Pitt. She's coming off of Unbroken, the story of Louis Zamperini. So I talked to her earlier, and I asked her what it was like to direct Brad Pitt, and she said it literally was a honeymoon.
I think it's more that you get nervous because you love somebody and you want to help them. You want to give, as a director, you want to help your actor. As a wife, you really want to help your husband. So you want everything to be right for them. There's something we found, which is if you work with the person you love and trust most in this world, it's pretty great because you really try things with each other and you trust, and you as artists, you get very bold because you're together.
Yeah, and one of the things I kind of bonded with her about before we started rolling, we were talking about, I asked her how her Christmas was, and it turns out we are both the same person in that when the kids are opening the presents, I am constantly, I've got a plastic bag and I am cleaning up as it goes.
You can't just stop to enjoy it.
I can't enjoy it. It's like because there's this growing sea of paper and ribbon and boxes, and I'm
always afraid. I used to be afraid she was going to throw something away. I'd say, wait. No. But no, you got to keep everything
clear. And Angelina is the one in her family who does the same thing.
And I thought it was interesting when she talked about, working with her husband, and I thought to myself, could I work with my husband?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
What do you think?
I don't think so. Not because I think we wouldn't
work with her husband?
No, we work very well together. That's a long story.
She opens up about what it was like to make a movie about one of her heroes right after this.
My interview with Hollywood heavyweight Angelina Jolie, why she says she's more comfortable in the director's chair right after these messages.
And I think that's what is the script when we got.
Thanks. We've been talking about your busy day yesterday in Southern California. You've got more now of your interview with Angelina.
That's right. Last hour, we heard Angelina talk about her cooking skills, or lack thereof, what it's like working with husband Brad Pitt, and the pressures of making her hit movie Unbroken. Well, I started off by asking her how her dear friendship with the late Louis Zamperini changed her life.
Louis, a moment of pain is worth a lifetime of glory. You remember that.
He's an extraordinary human being, and he reminds us to put our best foot forward, to think of others, to see challenges and take them face on and try to find the best in life. And he wanted this film to be a reminder to others of what they're capable of.
So you're waiting to hear his reaction. How did he feel about it?
When I found out he'd gone into the hospital, I was in the editing room, and I brought the film to him, and we watched it together on my laptop. I was watching somebody at the end of their life watch their life, remember their friends who died, remember their mother and how she made gnocchi, remembering when he crossed those finish lines and when he held that plank up. I think he was just, he was preparing to pass away when he was watching the film. But before I left the hospital room, he told me a really inappropriate joke. And I thought, what? And I left the room smiling. I came in here worried about him, and I was going to leave crying. And instead, he wanted to put a smile on my face, and he wanted me to know it was okay. And he took care of me. And
That's a gift.
that's who Louis was. Louis was greater than you could ever put on screen.
In 2014, you were one of two female directors who directed, big studio movies. Do you hope that the door gets opened for more female talent behind the camera as opposed to in front of it?
Yes, and I'm sure it will. I know many great, talented women that just need those breaks, because I've seen their work on a smaller scale, so they're coming. I personally get more out of directing. I love being with the film for years, and I love shepherding every aspect of it, and I love shining a camera on somebody else. And I love seeing other actors work, and I love being in the editing room and protecting their performances, and I love being in the kind of more in the field with everybody. I like to just be there with my boots on and doing work.
If I can take it, I can make it.
So all in all, are you pleased with what's on the screen with Unbroken? Is it or do you watch it and say, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that?
I'm sure I'll always have a bit of that, but I'm pretty good at backing away. And what I see too, I don't see my work. I see everybody's work when I watch a scene, and I think we all really came together and we did our best, and it's a beautiful memory.
I mean, I think a lot of people were shocked it didn't get nominated for Golden Globes. We've
had some lovely responses and lovely accolades, but nothing beats the audience responding to it. That's obviously, when you make this kind of a film, all the other stuff is wonderful, but it really means nothing if the audience doesn't connect to it, because this film is made for them. That would have been heartbreaking for us if we didn't connect to the audience. So we're over the moon.
I also asked Angelina about the Sony hacking incident, some of the stolen emails between Scott Root and Amy Pascal, obviously about her, and she declined comment. So.
She did a great job with this movie.
Yeah.
But she had great material to work with. Louis Zamperini's life is an unbelievable story.
Yeah, and you look at this movie, there's so many aspects of it. It's a war movie. It's a movie. It's a sports movie. It's a movie about survival. It's set at large chunks of it at sea. Yeah. So she had to bring a lot of different skills.
And you can tell her heart is in it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's good. All right.